everyone. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. Today, I've got a lot of great things to show you. So I put together this short video, and I want to show this to you to help frame why we're here. 25% of your brand's gross sales are tied to your trade marketing, and yet over 70% of your promotional spending is wasted or ineffective. Trade marketing includes everything required to get your product on store shelves and into the hands of shoppers, including online. Retailers demand promotions and shoppers expect them. Maximizing your trade marketing ROI means more runway for sales growth, fuel for more innovation, and more. Managing promotions is challenging. Even big brands struggle with this, but you don't have their deep pockets. Your survival depends on you getting this right. You're tired of feeling like an ATM machine and wish you could scale faster. You know in your heart that the tired strategies everyone else uses won't help you stand out on a crowded shelf. The light bulb goes on. Learn from CEOs, industry thought leaders, and founders who candidly share their insider secrets and advice with you. Now you have an abundance of tools to manage your trade marketing. Retailers now look to you as the category leader because of your proven ability to drive sales with your brand. Now you have the skills to confidently grow and scale your brand. The future looks bright. Visit Brand Secrets and Strategies today. Let's talk about what is trade marketing. Trade marketing includes everything required to get your product onto the hands and into the hands of the shopper. But effective trade marketing is not a push-button solution. We're going to talk a lot about that in a minute. Let me frame it this way. I went to college to become a CPA, a certified professional accountant. Now, I use QuickBooks for my business. Now, using QuickBooks does not make you a CPA automatically. And the same way that using TurboTax does not make you a tax expert. Think of it as an accounting software program or a program that keeps all your information together or pulls it all together. They're extremely valuable and they're extremely helpful. But the things that we're going to be talking about today are problems and issues and things that are not captured within these tools. If you can leverage these strategies effectively, then you're going to get even more out of them. So just to be clear, I'm not saying that they're bad. What I am saying is that the problems that they overlook or mask are problems that we're going to be covering here. And the better able that you are to manage your trade marketing, the more efficient you're going to be in the long run. So let me frame everything that we're going to be talking about by showing you this slide. So every slight improvement in your trade marketing means more runway for sales growth, higher brand evaluations, better terms of negotiating with investors, more fuel for innovation, greater support for mission-based causes, and much more. More importantly, this is the fuel that keeps your brand running. This is the fuel that keeps the lights on at night. So generically speaking, 25% of your annual sales are tied to your trade marketing. So if you're $1 million brand, and if you look at this chart, then you're spending about $250,000 a year. Now, if 70% of those dollars are wasted or ineffective, that's $175,000. If we can give you a 10% reduction in that waste, then we're going to give you $17,500 back. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is choosing the right promotions that grow your business. In other words, if a retailer comes up to you and says, I need you to participate in 5 promotions this year. Well, what do those 5 promotions look like? How do they grow your brand? Let's say that they're not going to help you move the needle. They're not going to help you grow sales in the category of your brand. So instead, what you do is you go back to them, you say, you know what? I can do 3 promotions at a much deeper level that are going to help you grow and scale your brand. So let me ask you, where are you at on this table? And then secondly, what could you do with the extra cash? And remember that this compounds every year. In other words, what you learn this year is going to help you compete more effectively next year and beyond. And this is where a talented category manager can help you explode or amplify those results. And the reason for this is what we're going to get into in a little bit are some of the nuances within the data that you need to understand that's going to give you a significant competitive advantage. Today's competitive environment demands advanced strategies that others overlook. So trade marketing can add rocket fuel to your brand. And according to Nielsen, targeting the right person can more than 13x your ROI. We're going to show you how to do that and much, much more. So what is our purpose? Our purpose is to help find a way to help get your product in the hands of more shoppers. Well, I'm going to be your Sherpa on this journey. I'm going to help guide you to solve these problems, help you understand better how to take full advantage of every promotional opportunity. And don't worry, you're not alone. Like I said, I'm here. I've got a bunch of resources, a lot of free resources too, on my website dedicated to help answer these important questions. And a pro tip, don't do what other brands do. Make this a priority. This is your key advantage. If you think about the amount of money you're spending on your trade marketing, think about, first of all, that's a lot of money. Secondly, think about ways that you could leverage that to help grow and scale your brand. So I always start with this, the shopper journeys change. So how do you help the shopper find the products that they want? Remember, they've got virtually unlimited choices. Everyone is fighting for their attention. Retailers want and need to remain relevant. Now, when I say relevant, what I mean is retailers want shoppers to have a reason to come back into the store again and again and again. And so when you think about shopper loyalty, loyalty is something that's earned. It's not something that's embossed on a plastic card. If you do what we're talking about here right, then you're going to help that retailer remain relevant. You're going to convert your occasional customers into loyal shoppers. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. So what do retailers really want? Retailers want three things. They want more traffic in their store. They want a reasonable profit in the category, and they want a competitive advantage. If you can help them achieve that, then savvy retailers will bend over backwards to help you achieve your objectives. And those are more distribution, more promotions, etc. In fact, here's a tip that's not in here, but here's my secret sauce, is that I've been able to leverage this effectively for years throughout my entire career to be able to get incremental displays that other brands have to pay for. It's great to have a retailer call me up out of the blue and say, you know what, I've got a promotional opportunity that I want to give to you because someone else backed out, or I need something extra for the weekend. Can you help me out? And being able to say yes and not having to pay anything extra for that. So it all begins with the customer. So one of the things that I put together a couple of years ago is my Turnkey Sales Story Strategies course. And that's what this course is about. Understanding your core customer. Now, everyone says that they do, but the reality is you probably overlook a lot of the things that makes your customer unique. In other words, from the standpoint of the mainstream CPG companies and solution providers, et cetera, you're either female, had a household, 2.3 kids, et cetera, you need to get to know your customer on an intimate basis. What does that customer look like? What's unique about them? How do they use your product after they take it home? So consider this. If I tell you a story and you tell someone else and they tell someone else and so on, that when time that story comes back around to me, it's virtually unrecognizable. How is your brand message being communicated across every aspect of your sales funnel? How do the retailers communicate? How does your broker communicate it? This simple thing alone will set you way head and shoulders above all your competitors. In addition to that, in this course, we talk about data. We talk about a lot of the other things you need to know. And more importantly, we talk about what does that consumer look like? How do they buy and shop their product? What's unique about them? What could you leverage in your selling story when you're talking to the retailer and the brand? So where do you start? You want to begin with one store and one event. So in other words, when we're thinking about trade marketing, a lot of those tools that I mentioned earlier, they try to roll everything up. Think about basically a checkbook for your brand, okay? So they keep track of all the money you paid for, your utilities, et cetera, and that's good information. But it overlooks what are the key components driving every promotion. And this is where you need to start with one store and one event. And as you become good at this and as you begin to understand that, then we'll start rolling it all up. So the goal is to understand the impact of the sale on the item, on the brand. In other words, did it improve the sales of the brand? And what we're talking about we're talking about when the sale's over, when the promotion's over, does the brand still grow? In other words, if you take a look at what they call base sales are the sales in the absence of the promotion. So when you look at everyday sales, after the promotion, do the sales continue to go up or they just go back to where they were? If they go back to where they were, then that promotion was not effective. So how does that impact the brand? Does it help the brand sales go up? What about the category? Are you driving profitable sales in the category? Next, Are you driving sales in the retailer? How's the retailer benefiting from your promotion? And by the way, leverage this as you're working with the retailer as a point of negotiation and help them understand what you're doing to drive traffic and sales in their store. And the next thing, and this is the thing that almost everyone overlooks, actually, I would say everyone overlooks, is the market basket. Retail is focused on how do they squeeze as much margin out of a single inch of space on the shelf. In other words, your product, one product at a time. Instead, you want to think about how does your product interact with other items that the customers are buying. And then as you work backwards, how does your promotion drive sales across the entire store? So then you also want to focus on the retailer's market. If you think about a pie, and what the way this game is played is you're constantly shifting the circles in the pie, the squares, right? And so the point is that you want to be taking share away from someone else in the market. If you buy, let's take a look at toilet paper. With the exception of the pandemic, people don't use more toilet paper, right? So when you take a look at toilet paper, well, if this retailer had a big promotion on it, which retailer did it take those sales from? And then vice versa. So where do your sales, when you promote your product, come from? What retailer in the market? And that's extremely important because this helps you set that line in the sand, that benchmark, so that you know if your promotions are effective. And then more importantly, how does this impact consumer shopping habits? Now, after we get all this down, after we understand it from this granular level, then we'll start rolling it up. But you've got to understand at this level. And like I said, any of the programs that are out there today overlook a lot of these key metrics. And so now let's look at the anatomy of a trade promotion. What does a traditional promotion look like? You can see on this graph here that the item bump, the item increase, this increase in sales from the promotion, increases sales in the brand and in the category. That's a good thing. That's what you're looking for. But you'll notice that there's a flat line here. And this is what we need to address. This is where we need to become a guide to the retailer to help educate them on what makes more sense for their category. So one of the things that you need to know here is that retailers unfortunately view promotions as a profit center, and so do distributors. Now, as far as them considering this a profit center, what I mean by that is that they just do promotions because they know that it's a source of income. What we need to do is we need to educate them on what the purpose of the promotion was about. And for that, you've got to know your numbers. We'll get to that in a minute. Help the retailer understand the impact on the category. Remember, customer doesn't walk in to just buy one single item. They buy a lot of different items. And if you could get them to spend more money on their market basket, then that customer is more valuable at the end of the day. Instead of playing this game where you're chasing a few pennies, let's teach the retailer how to chase long-term growth and real dollars. And you'll notice on this graph here that there is no sustainable growth. This is the failing of most promotions. And I'll give you a couple quick examples. Years ago, the cereal category, every month they would have a big promotion. Well, customers got smart. They were paying attention. And so customers would only buy the cereal when it was on sale, when it was our deep discount, and ignore it the rest of the year. Now, sadly, a lot of the manufacturers had the promotion at the same time because they're trying to take dollars away from each other or share away from each other. Now, what happened was it actually pulled dollars out of the category. The supplement category is another great example. Because of the deep discounting every other month by some brands, the buy one, get one free, that's pulled a lot of dollars out of the category. And what that does is it teaches the consumer that, hey, if you want to buy this product, here's the best time to buy it. And what that does is that creates an opening for consumers to go buy their product at other retailers as well. In addition to that, you want to highlight the three things that the retailers want. Remember, retailers want more traffic in their store, they want a reasonable profit, and they want a competitive advantage in their market. And this is what you need to show them. And the reason this matters, one of the things that we need to do as an industry is we need to get retailers to start thinking more strategic. Think about it. A retailer is trying to compete, and especially now when a lot of customers have the opportunity to buy their products online. If you can help the retailer keep that customer in their store and keep them coming back again and again and again, and if you can help that retailer help your customer find what they want, well, then that customer is going to be converted from an occasional customer into a loyal evangelist. And that's what we want at the end of the day. So here's the better solution. And you can see on this graph here where you can see where the increase has increased base sales. In other words, there's a steady increase over time. And the reason this is so is because instead of just doing the old rinse and repeat strategy that most retailers and brands think about and distributors think about when they're putting together a promotion, now we're getting a little bit more creative. We're putting more muscle into the promotion. We're putting more purpose into it. In other words, when we promote the item, we are leveraging our social media. We are bringing other things into bear. For example, maybe co-promoting with another brand. These are the strategies, and I talk a lot more about this in my course, Trade Marketing Essentials, but these are the strategies that you need to leverage when you're working with a retailer to help them drive profitable sales in the category. And again, this is what the game's about. And by the way, if you can help the retailer achieve this, they're going to view you as a trusted and respected resource. Again, you've got to know your numbers. This is why, in a little bit, I'm going to show you my tool that I created that I'm really excited about, the thing I said stay tuned to. And this is why you got to know your numbers. If you know which causals or which things impacted sales more, then you're going to be able to come up with these type of programs. More importantly, you're going to be able to save money because you're going to not participate in promotions that do nothing, little or nothing, to help increase your sales. Remember, the goal here is to get customers to buy more products after the promotion's over. And in the previous graph, what you saw is people buying products during the promotion, and then sales went right back to where they were. That's what you don't want. That's the worst thing in the world. That's a waste of money. Instead, what you want is steady growth, steady, consistent growth over time. You want to highlight how you're doing to drive more sustainable sales. In other words, in this example, you're showing the retailer, you're demonstrating to the retailer that you know how to drive sales in their store and that you know how to drive profitable growth in the category, contribution. We'll talk about that in the course later. And then also you want to show the long-term impact on the market basket, store traffic, and shopper loyalty. And I'll get to that in the next slide. So as I mentioned, you need to understand the impact on the market basket. The market basket is the sum total of dollars that the customer spends when they're at the store, when they check out. So you want to highlight the promotion's impact on the market basket. Did your promotion impact other items across other categories? Remember, if I'm a customer and I walk into your store, I'm not buying just one item. That's the way retailers think about things, squeezing as much margin out of a single item. But the reality is, I buy a lot of different items. And if your product, when it's on sale, encourages me to buy other products that I maybe wasn't thinking about buying, therefore my market basket's higher than it would be if I didn't buy your product on promotion. So how does your item drive premium product sales? And so if you think about the customer that buys organic milk, they're probably going to buy organic dairy, organic spread, organic, a bunch of other things. The point being is that customer is far more valuable as they check out of the store than the customer that buys the cheaper stuff. You want to focus on the market basket. Cannot emphasize this enough. This is something that honestly I've never seen anyone do. And yet this is so critically important. Start from the end and work backwards. You want to show them that when your item's promoted, how much additional growth do you see in the market basket? How many more items? You want to show how much more traffic. If you can demonstrate that you are doing a more effective job at keeping customers coming back to the store and buying all the other things the retailer wants to sell, at the end of the day, that's what the retailer wants. Slow, steady growth. Remember, you never get a second chance to disappoint a customer. The strategies today, unfortunately, are set up so that customers will go buy the products wherever they find the best price. If you can give that customer a reason to stay in that store and shop, well, that's a good thing for the retailer. That helps them remain relevant. And then you want to show them the loyalty conversion. A lot of these things are kind of hard to put your finger on, to nail down. But I've got some creative strategies that I talk about in the Trade Marketing Essentials course that I'm in the process of putting together. So you definitely want to check that out. But the point is, as you give customers what they want, that's how you convert occasional customers into loyal evangelists. That's how you create customers into loyal shoppers. This is how you convert them, by giving them what they want. So by being able to illustrate how you're able to help that customer find what they want to solve their problems, That's how you keep that customer coming back again and again. And again, that's how you help the retailer remain relevant. You also want to highlight the impact on the market. Again, this is something I'll talk about in the course, but when you're taking sales away from the retailer's competitor, retailers like that. And so you want to show the retailer how you're taking share away from the other retailers, how that retailer is now going to be the go-to place for your product. And you always want to focus on the long game. Remember, retail is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You need to focus on the long-term game. You want to remember that it takes a while to nurture a customer and teach them that you as a retailer have all the products they need, all the products that are going to solve their problems, all the products that they're going to look for. And this again is where you become a trusted and valued resource for your retail partners. The best thing that can happen, and this is what I was able to achieve all throughout my career, is to be able to have a retailer reach out to me and say, you know what, I've got an incremental promotion. Would you like it? This is great because I didn't have to pay for any of that. I didn't have to spend the money that a lot of other brands did. The result was that because I had that kind of a trusted relationship with a retailer, I was able to grow double-digit growth, 80%, 30%, quarter after quarter after quarter. And again, this is how I drove that relationship, by proving to the retailer that I could do a lot more for them than to just give them a quick win at the shelf 5 times a year. You want to change their perspective, and this is where that conversation begins. Fact-based selling. That's what category management is, fact-based selling. In this instance, I am using facts to help the retailer understand and appreciate what's unique about the strategies that I bring to their store and how I can help them. And on that note, when I was working with a lot of retailers, a lot of times they would ask me for advice in categories that we didn't compete in. What a great feeling to have a retailer reach out to you and say, hey, can you help me in an adjacent category or other categories? And the reason that they did that is because I was able to show them that some of those other items that were in those other categories were in the market basket, in the shopping basket, when the customers checked out, the customers that were impacted by our promotions. This is why traffic and market basket size are more important. Again, it's the long game. Help the retailer understand that you can do more to drive profitable growth in the market basket, that you can get the customer to spend more money in their stores, and that more importantly, you can help that retailer remain relevant. So accuracy matters. We want you to stop wasting money. As I showed you in an earlier slide, that promotions are extremely expensive, and a lot of brands just throw money at them because they're told to do it. Well, we want to teach you how to say no to promotions that don't make sense to your brand. We want you to know the factors that cause errors, and there are a lot of them, and we'll go through those a little bit in a minute. Even the best tools miss things. I mentioned that. And this is critically important that you understand this, that if you're using the best tools, then those errors are sometimes amplified, and they do a lot more damage to your understanding of how the promotion actually how the promotion actually raised the bar. So you need to be able to break these down into those terms. Mistakes can be extremely costly. This is where a lot of brands either go out of business or this could derail your business. This also is a huge cash drain for your brand. So when you're raising money all the time, think about how to use that money more effectively. Do not farm this out. There are a lot of companies out there that'll take this on for you. That'll say, hey, I will manage your trade marketing. The reality is it's not your brand. It's not their money, okay? They're not going to put the same effort and energy into managing this as you do. And even if they did, even if you hired someone to do this for you, well, you need to understand the basics so you can look over their shoulder and make sure that they're capturing everything that you know is important. Because I guarantee that they're not going to put the same effort and the same energy into your brand that you are. Make this a priority. Use this as a priority because, again, this is the largest single line item on your balance sheet, on your income statement. So let's start with, what is your long-term goal? What are you trying to achieve when you put together a promotion? And then always look forward, never look backwards. Always be thinking about, how does this promotion impact my business long-term? Think of a chess game. So this is not checkers, this is chess. Each move that you have on the board impacts some move in the future. So let's start with, let's not make the same mistakes that a lot of brands have. So this pandemic hit, a lot of brands are freaking out, and for good reason. Well, what is the first thing everyone wants to do when they get scared? Well, they want to eliminate headcount, right? Think about the money that you spent to train all of those people, the money that you spent to find them, first of all, and to groom them to be your ideal worker. Well, do you want to just throw that all away? No, you want to lean in. You want to lean in and maximize every opportunity to grow your brand. And the reason this matters is, let's say that I hired you to do something and you're taking a lot of stuff off my plate. And all of a sudden, if you're gone, that goes back on my plate. So I'm less efficient. Think about, again, the long-term game. How are you going to manage your brand? And focus on the target. Remember, retail is a marathon. It's not a sprint. The race is won with a solid strategy. You've got to have a strategy. You've got to be very forward-thinking in terms of how do you put together your trade marketing plan. The importance of a unified plan, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that everyone's on the same page. This amplifies your trade marketing. This amplifies your selling story. And this is something that a lot of brands overlook. Remember, you want to make sure that everyone presenting your brand to retail, to the customer, to everyone else, to wherever you sell it, that they're on the same page, in lockstep. You need to know the key metrics. So we're going to be talking about this, and I've got a course I'm actually putting together that gets into this a lot more. And you want to focus on the customer journey. I cannot emphasize this enough. Remember, everyone else is focused on a single item. I want you to start focusing on the customer journey. How does your promotion impact all the other promotions or all the other products in the store? This will give you a significant and sustainable competitive advantage. And I've got a lot of great strategies that I cover in the course, etc., that are going to help you maximize this. And start from the end and work backwards. In other words, when the customer checks out of a store, what's in their market basket? What else did they buy? Go backwards through their journey and find out all the different items that they've added to their basket. And why did they choose those items? And how does your promotion impact that? And what are the other items the shoppers buy when they buy yours? Just mention that. Plan well in advance. This is something where you want to be proactive, not reactive. Most brands are reactive. You need to be proactive. And the more proactive you are, the better you're going to be positioned to take advantage of some of those opportunities that I mentioned earlier, where a retailer calls you up and says, hey, I've got a promotion. Would you be interested in it? And then leverage your plan with retailers. This is something that you don't want to keep to yourself. Work with your retail partners. Partner with them to put together promotions that are going to benefit both of you. And then you want to become a trusted and respected and valued resource for your retail partners. So let's start with the data. Garbage in, garbage out. So do you know where your data comes from? This is critically important. Not all data is the same. You need to understand where your data comes from and how it's being put into the system. You're going to hear a lot of terms when you talk to the big companies that do the trade marketing about data harmonization and things like that. A lot of really technical, scary terms. Don't worry about it. We'll straighten that out more in the course. But for now, what we're talking about is we want to align one promotion, one event, one retailer, okay? So one of the biggest problems that all of the tools overlook is that the dates for the promotions don't align. So if you're using a syndicated data tool like Spins, Nielsen, RI, their weeks don't coincide with the way that retailers promote their products. I'm sure you've seen that. In fact, actually, I've got a promotion right here, a flyer right here, where I can only buy things on the weekend. Well, what if I decide to buy something on Monday? A lot of times you'll see promotions on Monday or Tuesday. Well, those aren't always included in the database the promotional database that you're looking at. So you need to understand where those issues don't align. And by the way, I've got creative strategies to work around that I'll talk about in the course, but that's way beyond the scope of the amount of time that we have for this. So the current strategies amplify reporting errors, and you need to remember that. You need to understand what the components are of a promotion so that as you're putting a promotion together and as you're beginning to analyze it, you can identify what are the opportunities to close the gaps. Out of stocks. Oh, this is such a problem for brands. And remember, it's not just out of stocks at one retailer, it's out of stocks at different stores. So poor retail execution. This is where most every brand fails. This is where you need to do better than every brand. And so shoppers can't buy your products if they can't find them in the stores. From my perspective, what you should do as a brand is you need to go to each store and tell the retailer how much product they need to have, how much incremental product they need to have to be able to support the promotion. If they have an out of stock and you're spending a lot of money to promote it, well, you're wasting the money. They're embarrassed because they've got customers that are upset because they don't have your product on the shelves. It's a lose-lose for everyone. And the challenge is that most people don't think of it this way. Now I'm coming up with a tool. It'll come out later on. You'll be hearing it later down the road that is going to help you identify how much product you need per store so that you can support your promotions properly. And that'll be part of the course that I'll keep referencing. But for now, you need to be thinking about what are your average turns in the store every day, each store individually. Remember, one store, one promotion, and then how do you grow? How do you explode that into however many retailers you're working with? So retail execution matters. I keep talking about that. So what systems do you use to manage your promotions? Well, remember, a scorecard is the best tool I think of to manage your promotions. And what gets measured gets done. You can include anything you want to measure on a scorecard, and you can break it down into bite-sized chunks, who's responsible for it, etc., so that you know that you have put together a promotion that doesn't allow anything to slip through the cracks. And you want to use scorecards to evaluate and improve on opportunities. In other words, after the promotion's over, use a scorecard to go back and say, well, how did we do here? Did we execute properly? Did we have the right product in the store? Did they have the shelf tags up at the right time, etc.? You also need to know your promotional causals. Your promotional causals are the things that impact sales. And again, I'll get really deep into this in the course, but for right now, you need to know that if you lower the price on something, how's it going to impact the sales of the item? And then after the price goes back down, after the price goes back to its normal level, then how is that going to impact the sales? And you need to know that if you put it on a promotion or on an end cap or a display or something like that, how does that impact your sales? And if you have a combination of this, how does that impact your sales? By the way, lift is something we're going to be talking about in a minute. Lift is what you get in addition to or over and above traditional, just regular everyday sales in the absence of promotion. So my boss used to always say to me, know why what happened happened. And again, this is critically important to understanding any aspect or any component of a promotion. In other words, what things did you do to drive sales to move the needle? And as you can see on this chart here, there are bumps. And those bumps, those humps there, are driven by the lines below. Was it promoted? Was there a price discount? Was it on a display, etc.? And you need to understand all those causals and what impacts your brand as you're putting together promotion. Now, the webinar series that I told you I launched earlier, a lot of those contain snippets of the course that I'm in the process of building. So go back and learn from the other webinars. There are quite a few of them. These resources are free and they're available to you. So take advantage of them. Take the time to go through them where I explain different aspects of trade promotions. For example, planning and forecasting, one of the biggest areas that people struggle with. And by the way, what we're talking about earlier, that complicates things even more. If you're trying to plan and promote something and then you're forecasting, but your dates don't align on the syndicated database versus the calendar. So again, I've got a lot of creative strategies to work around this in the course, but these are things you need to know and understand. So drum roll, please. This is something I've been working on for a long time. This is something I'm extremely proud of. And the best part is it's free. So let me get out of the screen share and go to my website. Can everyone see this okay? Okay, Beata, I see your note here. Thank you. I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to wait till we get a little bit further on in the presentation. So anyhow, thank you for giving that. So, and I got the iPad working, so cool. Okay, so let me share this with you. Again, I've been trying to support or trying to figure out a way to really make a difference, try to really make an impact and help brands out. So you can see where I don't actually have this on the menu bar on my website, but this page was just launched literally last night, late last night. And I'm really proud of it. So you're going to want to spend some time on it and check it out. And I'm going to come up with some information, cheat sheets on how to take advantage of it, but I'm really excited to show it to you. So as you can see, if you go to my website /TM tools for the trade, that's how you get there. The other thing is if you go to one of my other domains, trademarketingessentials.com, that'll get you here too. So if you click on this button, this takes you to the course, and the course is where I'm going to break in. Actually, I'll just show you that. So the course is right here. And this isn't about the course. That's not why we're having this today. But this will give you a lot of information, what it covers, and so on and so forth, okay? So anyhow, you want to check that out on your convenience. And by the way, I'm looking for people to want to join the course with me in terms of beta students. So something you might want to think about. In other words, I'm an expert in trade marketing, but I'm not an expert in your business. And so as I'm building this course together and putting it together, I'd love to get your input before it goes live to everyone else. So here we go. Drum roll, please. Remember that chart that I showed you a little bit earlier? Well, here's the promotion efficiency calculator. So what you do is you put in your annual gross sales. So in this example, $800,000. Well, 25% of my total sales are tied to my trade marketing. Well, I'm spending $200,000 a year. Okay. Now, if 10% of that is wasted, if I can get 10% of that back, then, excuse me, let me start again. If 10% of that is $20,000, if I get 10% of that back, then I can give you an extra $20,000 a year to manage, grow, and scale your brand. Wouldn't that be a great thing? So here's what's really cool about this. Go in and put your actual annual gross sales there. By the way, let me show you. If you hover over these question marks, it tells you what that cell is or what that does. So let's say that $20,000, what does that amount to? Let's say that a promotion is about four promotions, okay? So what does that mean? That means if I can save the money from 4 promotions, what could I dump that into? How can I use it to grow and scale my brand? Now, let's say that I get even more efficient. Look at the numbers down below, $30,000 if I can save 15%. Look at how becoming more efficient radically changes the amount of money that I can put back into my business. This is what this is all about. Remember, one store, one promotion, etc. You understand at the granular level, and these small improvements that I'm going to make over time are going to compound. Now, let's say that we get to the point where we're such a value-added resource to retailers that we can negotiate with them on slotting and some of those other fees. So let's reduce the amount of money that we're putting toward our trade promotions. Let's go down to 20%. So look at how that slight impact, that slight change from having $20,000 a year to put back into my trade spending to now having $32,000 a year. What could you do with an extra $32,000? I don't know about you, but if I'm growing a brand and I'm trying to save money, that just paid for one person. That just paid for a lot of extra promotions. That just paid for more innovation. Play with this. Go in there and have a good time with it. Again, this is free. This is available to you. Now, drum roll, please. It gets even better than that. Here's the best part. Promotion Analysis Tool Lite. Now, I am building a more robust version of it, and that's going to be part of the course, and I haven't decided exactly how to do that. I'll probably make it available to people on a subscription, but I will give people that join the course a steep discount in it. But this is something that is really going to change your life radically as you go through, as you're starting to put together your trade promotions. So anywhere where there's a cell like this, you input your own numbers, your own promotion date, your fixed costs, and everything. This is where, and again, I'm going to put this together in a cheat sheet that'll come out soon. Like I said, I finished this yesterday. I'm so proud of it. So anyhow, so you'll be able to get a cheat sheet that'll tell you what all these things are, what's important, what you need to be paying attention to. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And as you can see, there are a lot of different things you need to put in there. Well, let's talk about some of the different things. Let's say that you're a small brand and you don't have access to data. Well, creative strategies to get around that. So go into a store, for example, and talk to the grocery manager early in the morning and ask them how many cases of your competitor's item or your item do they stock a day. Now, do a lot of surveys, do quite a few surveys at different stores. So you get kind of a feel, a benchmark. It's not scientifically accurate, but it'll give you a head start. It'll help you answer some of these questions. So now you know what the average turns are without promotions. Ask the same question on the weeks that the products are being promoted. So your base sales are your sales in the absence of a promotion. Those are the weeks that the product's not being promoted. The incremental sales are the difference between the base sales and the total sales on the weeks that they are being promoted. Now, again, this isn't scientific, but it gives you a lot of information that a lot of brands don't have access to. Now, if you do have access to syndicated data or to retailer POS data, you can put that in there, and that's even better yet. But I just want to show you that this is something that every brand can take advantage of. So as you're going through here, you can say, okay, my event weeks are 5 weeks, my miscellaneous costs are X, my menu fees are, how much am I paying to get the product in front of the customer, to promote the customer? What am I paying to get off invoice? Put in as many of those things in here as you possibly can. Now, this tool is at the item level and it's at the brand level. Later in future versions of this tool, more advanced versions of this tool, I'll be talking about the category. I'll be talking about rolling this up, etc. But for now, this tool here is a game changer. I wish I had this when I was starting out. So as you scroll down, you can see all the different things that you want to put in here. Well, now look at this, the piece of resistance, however you say that. So these are the calculations. So what is your price discount? Remember, anything you put up above is going to impact the numbers down below. What is your lift, your unit lift from doing that? What are your event sales? What is your promotion? What is your margin? What are the incremental cases? Look at the wealth of information that I have here for you. And remember, this is free. You can use this anytime you want. And the best part about it is that you can go in here and play. So like I said, I've put numbers in here. I've played with this and I've created some scenarios. And this is just a starting place, just a place to kind of fill it out. So let's say my total trade spending using this example is $20,222 for that promotion, one promotion, right? Well, let's go up here and let's play a game of what if. Let's say that my miscellaneous costs were $3,000. Oop, I got a weird, okay, $3,000, right? Well, what does that do? Well, $22,000. So that changed it. So what if I go into units per case, 6? Okay, see how my unit sales change? See how my numbers change? So as you go through and you start tumbling through this, changing some of these numbers, you're going to see the impact of a promotion. So here's why this matters so much, is that as you're putting together your promotion, you're going to be playing around with different scenarios. And I want you to play what if. What if instead of putting more money toward a feature or putting the promotion in the retailer's promotion in the roto, instead do an in-store demo? How does that dynamic change the impact of the sale? If you're doing a promotion and you're just putting money out there and you're not getting any performance, what you're paying per scan, how does that impact your promotion? Do me a favor. This is brand new. I've tested it a little bit. Play with it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about what you can do with this, and send me some examples. Give me some feedback and help me. Oh, so okay. Help me understand the benefit of this. Help me understand different ways that you can use this. And if you have some suggestions and ideas about ways I can improve upon it, let me know. And like I said, the advanced version of this tool is going to be available in the course and probably through a membership site or something like that. But for now, again, this is free. Use this. Use this on every single promotion. Roll your promotions up and then use them. So, and one of the other things I'm working at Arn, is that I should be able to print this, have you print this off and email it to you. And that might be coming. Don't want to get ahead of my skis, but this is really cool. So anyhow, play with this. And then as you scroll down, this takes you to the webinar, to the sales page, the speaker page, excuse me, tell you what type of webinars are coming up. And then I've got some of the videos that I mentioned to reference earlier about how do you play, what role should trade marketing play in your go-to-market strategy, et cetera. Now, at the bottom of every website, you're going to see this. If you're not yet on my newsletter, or you know someone who's not on my newsletter, click on the subscribe, so you're going to get information like this on a regular basis, so that I'll be able to help you grow and scale your brand all the time. So let me go back to the deck and we'll finish up, and then we will answer some questions. To make it easier for you to get the most out of this incredible tool, please click on the link below the tool to download Promotion Analysis Growth Strategies. These are the instructions that are going to help you get the most out of the tool. And the best part is, I go into a little bit of depth in terms of what you need to have, what you need to prepare, so that when you go to use a tool, different ways or different strategies that you can take advantage of it. In addition to that, I've also made it so that you can download the scenario that you're working on so that you can get that delivered to your email. Now keep that scenario and compare it to the actuals. And this is how you begin to start understanding what are the things that are really driving sales. So you have to let me know what you think about that. So leverage your trade marketing and partner with retailers. So Trade Marketing Essentials, that's the name of the course that I'm putting together that I would love to have people join me in a beta format. And if you've got questions, reach out to me and I'll answer those. So Trade Marketing Essentials, what you need to know. Remember, I showed you that a lot of the tools that are out there today, think of QuickBooks for your trade marketing. It's valid, it's important, it's helpful, but it doesn't solve the problems. You need to know how to work around that. You need to know garbage in, garbage out. You need to know what inputs you need to be able to grow your sales. For example, here's something you need to think about. If I'm a brand in Denver, Colorado, and I want to analyze or evaluate my brand in the natural channel in Denver, there's no database on the planet that can do that. So how do you work around that? Well, I've got some creative strategies again in the course. I'm going to save that as a teaser. But the point is, how does the data work? How does the data align with what you're trying to accomplish? If you're trying to see how well you're doing on a promotion in a retailer, and that retailer is spread across the 5-state region, that could be an issue. Or if the retailer doesn't sell data to this to Nielsen Spends or RRI, that could be an issue. So know these things and reach out to me if you've got questions. So why does this matter? Increased distribution, preferential merchandising. In other words, if you execute flawlessly at retail, if your go-to-market strategy is flawless and you can help the retailer achieve their 3 things, grow sales, et cetera, more traffic, they're going to bend over backwards to help you with incremental distribution and merchandising. By the way, we can also leverage this in promotional decks and new item decks to help with other retailers. Efficient trade spending. This is the name of the game. This is why we're here. Maximizing promotions. You got to understand what the promotion's made up of before you do anything else. Category leadership. A category leader, in my mind, is any brand willing and able to step up and help their retail partners drive sustainable sales by leveraging the strength of your brand. Now, I've been a category captain, national category captain in several different items. That's expensive. Let the big brands pay for that. Here we're talking about being a category leader. What's unique about your customer? How does your customer buy? How can you help leverage your customer to drive sales at that store? Higher sales and profits. And the best part, this is how you convert occasional customers into loyal shoppers, by giving them what they want and making your product available where they want to shop. So thank you. I want to answer your questions. And again, please reach out and thank all the organizations that are partnering with me. Again, Plant-Based Solutions, ECRM, Range Me, Phil Limpert, the Supermarket Guru, Social Nature, Whole Foods Magazine, C-Suite Network, C-Suite Radio, and Big Orange Productions. If you want to contact me and get a free 30-minute consult, brandsecretsandstrategies.com/30min. Remember the page I just showed you, trademarketingessentials.com. And then also, if you want to see what's new, next webinars are coming out, and go back and look at previous webinars, go to brandsecretsandstrategies.com/speaking. So let's take a look at the question. So, have you ever really seen? Yes, promotions do drive base sales if they're done correctly. So let me answer the first part of that question. So base sales, remember, Beata, base sales are sales in the absence of a promotion. If you put together a solid promotion that does the job of raising the needle, growing the brand, et cetera, if you understand all those components, then you can drive base sales. I've got an example that I share in some of the things I put together, or for example, Kleenex facial tissue. I was able to put together a promotion that helped not only introduce products to new customers, but it helped also drive sales in the category. And it built a lot of awareness around the category around cold and flu season. And because of that, we tied it to the cold and flu, back to school, et cetera. And so in that scenario, that was a huge, huge, huge win for the retailer. So when you're thinking about driving base sales, think about what are the components that you want to have in your promotion that are going to impact the way that customers buy your products. Now, let me back up a little bit. Trade promotions, the goal of every trade promotion is to introduce your product to a new consumer. It's not to get me to buy your product. It was already on my list. Now, that's great for me, but there are more creative strategies that I'll share with you in the course and other webinars, et cetera, about how to leverage other strategies to help me, to reward me for being loyal. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of brands overlook. Actually, it's a creative strategy. I don't think of it. Actually, I've never seen anyone do it. But, we can talk about that more later offline. But the point is this. Having a promotion for the sake of having a promotion does very little, if anything, to drive base sales. So let's change it. Let's refocus the way we're thinking about it. Yes, we're all done. Yeah. Okay. So she says, yes, we've all done the analysis hundreds of times, but truly, do you think promotions ever work, or are they just tied to the industry because we have okay, so let me answer that part of the question. Sadly, retailers view promotions as a profit center. That's really what we're talking about here. So most promotions don't raise the bar. Most promotions don't achieve the objective. And the reason for that is retailers are addicted to the promotions. This is where we get retailers to understand how you're going to do more to drive sales. So instead of saying, in the example I shared with you, instead of saying, look, I'm going to give you 5 promotions, whatever you ask me for at a certain level, et cetera. Instead, be able to sit down with the retailer and go back to them and say, you know what, if I do 3 promotions, but I leverage my social media, if I leverage some other products in the categories, et cetera, I'm going to give you a bigger bang for your buck in terms of market basket. I'm going to do more to drive traffic in your store, and get the retailer to understand and appreciate how those nuances, how those changes are going to help them drive sales. At that point, we're changing the conversation from just being, sit down, shut up, get at your checkbook because I need you to spend money to write fund a promotion. Instead, now we're talking about how do we mutually benefit each other? How do we mutually drive sales? And the next So in terms of incremental and understanding, so she's also asking, in terms of understanding, so you do take share away from other brands. You do take share away from from the market, and that's okay, and that's a good thing. So remember the 3 things the retailers want. Let's frame it this way: want more traffic in my store, competitive advantage in the market, and a reasonable profit. So if I've got retailer A and retailer B, and retailer A has a big promotion on something, and I'm able to take sales away from retailer B, and this is your promotion, retailer A, right? Then what you're doing is you're trying to encourage retailer B's customers to go shop at retail A. Now, the goal for the retailer at that point, once you get them in the door, is to try to not invite those customers to go shop at retailer B or retailer C or retailer D. So this is a big part of this. So in terms of this game of chess, how do we create a strategy that's going to drive customers into the store where we're promoting the product, the store we're working with? One. And then how do we keep them coming back again and again and again? And this is this is good share. This is good, taking good share away from other retailers. So let's think of it this way. If you're a natural retailer and you're competing against the big box store down the street, where's your loyalty? What objectives do you have when you're putting together promotion? Well, if you're trying to support the natural retailer community, which we all are, then give them an incremental opportunity to drive sales in their store. So let me paint it this way. Big retailers are great at selling a lot of stuff cheap, but they don't have every item we want to sell. So if I go into a natural retailer, and if I can find something unique and different, then that retailer is able to spend some time with me and help me understand the benefit or how that particular item solves my problem. That's how they develop the relationship with that customer, right? So if you can help the retailer demonstrate to their customers that they have all the products and things to fit their needs on their shelves, that'll keep that customer coming back in. So from that standpoint, you're helping that retailer, help protecting that retailer against mass slippage. I hope that understand. A couple of great notes about the tool. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I'm excited about it. How do we get that? Okay, so in terms of the numbers on the field and that, again, I'm going to be coming up with some cheat sheets that are going to help you identify what numbers you put where and why they matter and how I came about those numbers. And I get more into creative ways to find those numbers if you don't have them. I mean, you should know, what is your scan down rate? What is your average retail price? Stuff like that. Those are things that you should know, because those are things that's the bread and butter of your business. But in terms of understanding the volume business, the volume metrics, those are things that I'll kind of help you weave through as I put together resources for you, podcast episodes, et cetera. But the main point is this: leverage that tool. Leverage that tool to play with it and learn how you can use it to maximize each and every promotional opportunity. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you can figure out a way to squeeze 1% out of a promotion, that's more money back in your pocket. And then next time you have a promotion, you'll squeeze an extra 1% or something. This is about the long-term game. This is like I said, playing chess. What things do you need to do today that are going to make you exponentially more profitable down the road? And even if you're using some of those canned tools down the road, well, what are the things that impact those sales? The tool that I just showed you, if you use that to put together your promotion and you say, okay, here's my promotion, here's what I'm going to do in terms of here's how I'm going to promote the products. And then you take that and you evaluate your promotion. Okay, here are the actuals. How did that actually move the needle? And then you put both of those metrics in one of those tools, then that'll show you where the opportunities are. And by the way, that's actually one of the tools that I'm going to be building. In other words, here's my plan, here's what I forecasted, and here's the actual. And being able to compare them, because that's where the real opportunity comes for you to see which items or which promotions move the needle. And again, partner with retailers. Retailers don't understand all this stuff because remember, they're busy running a store. They don't have the tools and resources we just shared with you. They don't know your customer as well as you do. They cannot possibly be an expert in every item in every category they sell. This is where they need you. At the heart of everything I talk about, this is your opportunity to differentiate yourself from other brands. Again, the Turnkey Sales Story Strategies course. Leverage this with your retail partners. Help them understand what your customer is and how you can help them drive sustainable sales by leveraging the strength of your brand. Cannot say that enough. Hope that helps. Got a couple more minutes for questions. Any other questions you have? Here's one. So they're asking me about the first tool. And so the question from John is about the first tool, about the, what do I call it? The evaluation tool. So those are just rough estimates. I mean, play with it any way you want. Think about it. One of the things you could do is you put in your total annual gross sales today. And then you can also use it to put in your annual gross sales, if I understand your question right, put in your gross sales where you plan to be in a couple of years. Where do you forecast your sales to be? And then understand if you're able to keep your trade spending down and improve the spending that you have, How's it going to help you grow and scale your brand? How are you going to be able to leverage those dollars to help you achieve your strategy going forward? Does that make sense? I hope that does. If it doesn't, please reach out to me. Again, my email addresses are on there. And then, okay, so, and Sue asks about understanding the concept of one promotion, okay. So what she's asking about is understanding how one promotion, one brand, one retailer at a time, how that fits into things because you're so busy. How do you manage all that? I'm not saying you need to forget everything else. I'm saying you need to know the basics. You need to know the components, all the things that go into a promotion. And once you know that, once you understand that, once you can manage that effectively, then at that point, we can start rolling things up. The problem is we don't want to get ahead of our skis. We don't want to overlook the things that we talked about here. Like, for example, the fact that the databases don't align. If I promote a product in a store and my promotion begins on Wednesday and ends on a Tuesday, and all the databases, their data starts on the weekend and ends on the weekend, well, think about all the missed sales that I have. If you've got data that says that you sell this much a week, that data doesn't tell you if you've got out of stocks. Let me explain. If you have 12 items on the shelf, okay, and your data, the data you buy from the retailer says that you sold 12 items that day at that store, if you could get down to that granular level. That doesn't tell you that you're out of stock 3/4 of the week. It just tells you that you sold 12 items. These are things that you need to know and understand. And as you begin to try to identify what those components are and manage each one of those components, then you get better. So in that example, if you're a new brand and you're starting out and you have no idea what your sales are, I would seriously recommend going into every single store you possibly can several times a week and just see how many of your products are sitting on the shelf so you can understand the average turns. Buying store level data is possible in some databases, but it's horribly expensive. And so if you can go in and identify what are your average turns, so you make sure that your product's not not out of stock, especially when it's on sale. So leverage some of those strategies. I hope that helps. And then next question about the next webinar. So Tom asked about the next webinar. So next webinar, we're going to talk about the state of the industry. Phil Limpert, I don't know if you don't know who he is, the supermarket guru. He's a wealth of information. He's been on the podcast a couple of times. And what's cool is that he has the perspective of looking at a lot of different retailers and a lot of different big brands. And so he brings that information, that ability for you to look beyond the market that you're currently working in and share those insights. So we're going to be talking about what does the future look like? How does COVID impact your brand strategy today, tomorrow, and beyond? And then after that, I'm going to be talking to Daniel with Plant-Based Solutions, and we're going to dig into the plant-based phenomenon. And plant-based phenomenon is something that's really cool. Before this happened, for the pandemic, plant-based sales were just exploding across every category. In fact, actually, if you go to any one of my podcast episode web pages, you can see the article that I wrote for the 2016 Category Management Handbook. And the article is actually designed originally to talk about plant-based foods. But because it wasn't coded properly in the database, I just chose organic. And that's a whole nother story, but I can answer that more in depth later. But the point is this: plant-based, organic, kosher, gluten-free, et cetera. Those are the things that are driving sales across every category. Well, plant-based is cool because it fits a unique segment of the industry and it addresses so many of the needs of the consumers that want allergy-free, et cetera. And so anyhow, you definitely want to stay tuned and check that out. We've got a couple more minutes. Any other questions for anyone else? Okay, links to past webinars. Okay, so go to my website and go to the speaking page, and that'll give you all that. And by the way, I'll be putting future webinars on there as well. And as you see by the list of people that are sponsored, that are not sponsoring me but are partnering with me, you're going to see a lot of great content come out. So we'll be doing other things with Whole Foods Magazine, ECR, and Range Me. They've already been on Big Orange. You've got to listen to Andrew. He's such a wealth of information. He's been on 3 podcast episodes. Go back and check him out about selling, about making sure that your sales funnel works. guy is just an amazing wealth of information. And then everyone else that's on there too. So, leverage that. So we've got about another minute. Any other questions I can answer for you? If you don't get your question answered, please reach out to me. Again, my email address is on the screen, Dan@CMS for CPG. And if you want to schedule 30 minutes with me for free, brandsecretsandstrategies.com/30min. I got a few thank yous. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad you love the tool. I'd love to get your feedback. Send me a note. Play with it a little bit. I took a lot of time to build, put a lot of love and blood, sweat, and tears, all that stuff into the tool. Use it. Please use it. And please share it. Do me a favor. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with the industry. This is how we help raise the bar. Back to my mission. We're all in this together. If you help me help you, that's going to help other brands along the way. Let me know what keeps you up at night, and I'll put together content around that. So with that said, well done. Okay, thanks. And thank you. A few other comments about tool. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Thanks, Analia. Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, Analia. And by the way, we're going to be putting together, so that's Analia with Social Nature. So we're going to be putting together something with them. You'll definitely want to stay tuned. They've got some really cool strategies that I want to share with you in terms of how do you understand or how do you identify that unique consumer that buys your product and what's different about them than other consumers and how do you leverage that? So again, everyone, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you hopefully next week. Do me a favor, share this content, go to the website, sign up for our next webinars, and then go to the podcast, share it with your friends, subscribe, leave a review, and same thing on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have yourself a great day.